It's Matthew here again, all for you just for you. We're going to wrap this up again, the final loose ends that we have. You see the dangerous, so much dangerous science all in it, and we got to stay away from that. There's gas, there's hazards, so is it 1, 2, 3, 4, you know what that is. And back to what architecture, San Diego State, SDS is Cal State, you see down there, not far from what we call the UTC. What an amazing Westfield Mall. UTC is so incredible. UTC, Greenwich Mean Time. I think it's a weird thing. So Maritime, Air Force, a little bit in it. Really, LA is where they have the Air Force base. They said actually LAX, little secret. They have an Air Force base, LAX, and that's where they have hijacking, and that's when they have Obama is ordering this Taliban, and then they go in boxcar and they hijack and they scramble the jets that comes out of LAX, Los Angeles, and they guide to come in, escort or with something to do with emergency landing. The F-16s go up, like the way those things rocket power, the wings don't even fly, and they land it back down. They're coming down with that plane. And it's out of LAX, but there's Marine Corps, there's Navy, they have their own Air Forces. There's so much of that in San Diego. GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, Zulu Time, Z-Rabbit. I talked about the problems with sorority girls and the absolute evil with code switching. They teach code switching to keep us doing plumbing so they can own the properties. They can be the beautiful, put the tiara on Lauren Doroya, civil beat. Beautiful, beautiful women keep us when we come across Coronado Bay Bridge. We have to date our own. As in, there is neon color shirt, there is orange color shirt. I do construction. I honey wagon, pump the porta potty, get me toy out of there. I can't have the multi-millionaire, beautiful 5 million, 10 million. We're both going to take it up so very high. We're going to break that $1 billion barrier, and that's what I was saying about Donald Trump Jr. Despite the fact you look at Sam Walton's picture, Walmart, you look at it because you're meant for the billions, yourself. You also have to realize there's incredible beauty, and this is the thing with real estate, with that amazing pin. And in Hawaii, they have it's the law in Hawaii. Actually, you have to put your real estate commission mandates it. It's an HRS 467, which is the equivalent of Nevada. You have to have NRS 645. That we have their brokers and salespeople that it says you got to put. We followed suit. California DRE is the beacon on Mount Diablo. Like me when I'm up there, I'm the light shining, turning around. I'm doing a 360. I'm shining the light on everything and bringing in such enlightenment through real estate to people all across the country. But Cal DRE, they try to take that over, and they want to shine the light to be the beacon of hope for all of these regulatory across the country. And really they had set a standard that Nevada right across the border decided they wanted to follow suit. They said license number, we're going to put on everything, put license number, just all of it. Especially when you're advertising, business cards, you put it, website, you got to put it to be safe. Always flyers, you got to put it, billboards, you got to put it to be safe. You look at this, but really, it's about the definition of it. I'm not a lawyer, that's why to be safe, you got to put it. Just like here, Cal DRE, we got to follow Cal DRE. That's not technically real estate advertising, it's institutional advertising, but gray area, they said, well, let's make sure we just, as an industry, to be safe, we're going to put it on institutional advertising. My face, the whole thing's a penis. When I'm in a headshot, I talk about Boto. I am a Boto. I'm a whole Boto. The whole thing's, the beauty of that is that narcissism, the technology of narcissism, NARCISSISM, danger is that your consciousness and your thought, your brain is the head of a penis, and that's the thing living inside of your mind, the beauty of it. And so when you look at my picture in the realtor headshot, in the real estate agent, or even if it's insurance, or even if it's anytime banking or whatever reason, when I've got that picture on a website for whatever reason, or if I'm hired in indie journalism somewhere, California, Nevada, Hawaii, they're going to put my headshot on a bio page. That's penis. That's the head of a penis. You're looking at something that is it's sexually charged, like they said. And so I want to say that, but we're going to the point. DJT, we talked about that, and we're going to talk about the two things that irked me at a Starbucks right across from Santa Fe Station here in San Diego, downtown San Diego, across from the Encumbrencia. and what's called America Plaza, where the blue lines go through that one as well. But I was looking. By the way, we talked also in our take a look at the Courtney Teague analysis. Come back into present time, even though these videos are timeless, right? Where I had a very dropped some red pills yesterday. Courtney Teague, the analysis of her worldview that might be underlying why she's participating in, whether it's Miss America, whether it's Jeff Portnoy, even the journalism itself, collective journalism, or whether it's intelligentsia. Let's just call it intelligentsia. You don't need to know bourgeoisie, proletariat, who the bourgeoisie, who the proletariat. You know there are faces in there, and you know it exists. And so you look at Marxism, you try to analyze the structure of economics, all society, who runs it. David Young, University of Hawaii, who runs the university. Just knowing that these two things exist gives you a way to understand. You don't have to know who the faces are necessarily, even though we do know who the faces are. Let's call it intelligentsia. Who is the intelligent? Who's running all of this? So here's what irked me. I saw these two people, all right, and they were having a conversation there through the window of the. As we have our rock star, we got to stand up. I talk a lot about Michael Savage, a California incredible figure, San Francisco, Hawaii, University of Hawaii alumni. This shirt I got from over there at Father Joe's is really reminding me of, and to talk about my own story too, just by coincidence, that is my alma mater, and we're here at a university. I always find myself in universities, and we're here filming this with Rockstar. That's Michael Savage's son, second generation Heritage Savage, the Melaleuca salesman turned savage, Michael Savage, Michael Allen Wiener turned Michael Savage, Savage Nation, psychological nudity, viewer discretion is advised. You got your pretty pink one here, and the thing with this is it's Michaela Peters, and you just know the reason why Michael Savage's son with Rockstar and the brand is putting up all these bars. Cheers to you, by the way. Energy drinks, we need it. Putting up all these bars, putting up all this Rockstar Club, where they have these venues, is because he's the, that's who he's after. Someone a tad bit younger, similarly conservative, like the dad. Savage Nation, Michaela Peterson, daughter of the beautiful Canadian woman, daughter of Jordan B. Peterson up there, that talked about all of these, really gave us put these ideas back on the map so that we can talk about conservatism, liberalism, red for a reason, conservatism, gold. It's actually, I love the one that tastes like medicine. In fact, by the way, the past couple of weeks, and this, we freeze moments in time too with movies and video. They had a full gold Rockstar. That was the original flavor. It tastes even more like medicine, and it's a lot like Michael Savage's red pills is the pills you gotta take. Caleb Peters, real beauty there, I have to say. But through the window, I saw a man in a suit, and the way he moved his hands, so smooth, so suave. He must have been like a lawyer. You go right up Broadway, there's the federal courthouse, and right across there's the federal courthouses, and there's the federal jail where they got Catherine Kealoha. Poor Catherine Kealoha. It's too much time. 12, right at the Honolulu airport, 12 years. You got Louis Kealoha up in Oregon, and it is just such a sad thing. There's people dropping dead all around him over there. COVID, all kinds of disease, and this really Louis Kealoha is. Even if he's, by the way, they changed a lot of these sentencing guidelines, and it was George Bush, it was Obama, and it used to be, these things, if so, Blagojevich, this is someone that's going into jail. 5 years was what these people, and then you let these guys out early. And now, these people are doing more time than people that smuggle drugs across the border from San Ysidro. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. There's a difference between people that are doing public corruption and people that are doing drugs and people that are doing violent crime. That's how it used to be. 5 years federal. That's what's really, really bad. You're Timothy McVeigh, you blow up a federal building, well, then you're going to have the needle put in your arm and tear hot, and then you're going to get killed, and the world's going to find it. But Shepard Smith, right there, he's going to observe it. Such a sad thing when they have to do that, but that's the penalty. You're going to get killed. Basil Marceau, right? He said, can't find innocent car, can't search it. And but he believes in guns, Second Amendment. But you murder someone, you go to jail, you get murdered. You get murdered. The order in which he did it, you get murdered, you go to jail. That's why we all laughed at it. But you get murdered, you go to jail. Up there at San Quentin, they swapped out that gas chamber with the new lethal injection chamber. Something he of course doesn't want to use because they've really turned against death penalty. Really, they shouldn't have to have people killing people that way. Mass, heinous crimes. Why is that? Because poor family. So you tell me all this stuff about you're putting things in front of people, and I say no, this is not science fiction. When I'm talking about luxury property, and you say no, these are things people aren't going to be able to do. They're never going to be able to afford it. These are experiences you're not going to be able to have, and that's why I want you to look at my incredibly intelligent analysis of Courtney Teague. I'm going to call her a sorority girl, evil, that was Greek, all of that stuff. But that's why I said Z Robert. They don't have that on most of them. XI, that's ZEE Robert. It comes from this really genius person that would inscribe. And this was an artist that didn't really have a lot of talent, but this was a real person in Hawaii. And he would put ZEE. He would etch it. Right, so it's an intellectual novel too. It's an intellectual story too. The Z Robber story is about social class. It is about breaking into McKenna Facto kind of family and master bedroom. But it's also about XI, from the Greek alphabet. And if you, by the way, if you think of real estate, the why that plays into it is because this is the funny jokes you make about the Z Robber story is. You look at that XI, but if you look at what that is, the capital Greek alphabet, it looks like a mail merge field turned 90 degrees. So like that's in real estate. That's what we do. We go on Lion Desk, we go on Contactually, and it's just we have template letters, and we've got your name, we've got the date we want to send it out, you've got you on a drip plan. So it's like Z Robert. That's the only frat we need, the fraternity we need to belong to is National Association of Realtors. Z Robert, ZEE, take the C if you have to. Get your degree from UH Kids in YNI because you want to be doing it with Kelly Samet. You want to be doing it with Lauren Taruya. You want to be doing it with these beautiful girls that they have on TV. You want to be famous. You want to be in their master bedrooms with experiencing the joy of the human intimacy with these incredibly high-profile people. And bare minimum is TV news girls. Bare minimum is Taruya. Bare minimum is, Teague, she's totally disqualified. I've disqualified the whole Civil Beat staff. Jedra's one of the best. I got to add that in there. It's clear I know more. That's why I want you to read that analysis and a link to it. I know more about the Navy than Christina Jedra. And I appreciate them more, too, especially now that I'm not just playing objective in that sense. And so she's a watchdog of the Navy. So perfect. She comes from, was it Delaware or where she was at? And so she was doing all this stuff over there. There's a picture of her with one of these mentally retarded interns at that old paper that wanted to, take pictures of all the staff on the paper. Most of the people were columnists, but it was a beautiful picture. Though. It's a great thing to have for history. Is these mentally retarded interns that do that. You got to give it to them because all they end up doing when they leave and then end up, going to Germany once a year on Lufthansa, because that's all they can do. They don't cause too much problems for society, so we don't bother them. These mentally retarded interns really do create for the real professional journalists, in the end, a record of their work. And what a beautiful woman, Christina Jedra. This is Lois Lane, actually. But I've disqualified them all from being in my master bedroom, feeling my penis going in and out of their vagina, because what Courtney Teague did was whistle blocking. So I'm going to self-cock block, and they're going to lose big time because of it. Civil Beat, total liars. But the two things I saw at that Starbucks, there was a man in a suit, and there was a younger person. And these are just normal things we see out in the world and in the workplace especially. And I think the guy was probably an attorney. He was probably the founding partner of a law firm. And this kid was going to law school, or he just gotten out of law school, and he was just hung the lawyer license there with his law firm. But why would you want to do that public. Why would you want to be subordinate to an authority figure in public? I'm really good at reading body. I look at the haptic. This is the subordinate. This is the authority figure. If you're going to go out in public, even just have coffee in the morning, and by this, the next thing, when I was there having my Trent Breve iced coffee at Starbucks, irked me and made me sicker inside. It fucked me inside even more to hear this couple, kind of average looking, pretty decent looking girl though, very attractive, comely woman, regular old guy, and the things they were talking about, it made me even sicker. If you're going to go out in public, why aren't you going to be Donald Trump? If you're going to go out in public, why aren't you going to be, the governor of the state? If you're going to go out in public, why would you want to be yourself when you go out in public to a restaurant or walk through the streets? Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you be the president? And that's why I don't like Max Sword. It's all a complete psyop to stop people from owning LLCs, from being the president of corporations, C Corps, and all of it. It's to stop people from being sole proprietors that, as part of what they do, have to make all these different entities. But it comes back to be like Donald Trump, sole proprietor, really, that uses entities for this and that. But we're businessmen. Either way, we're businessmen. It's to stop people from being businessmen. Max Sword LLC, Macklemore LLC. Read my analysis, my very intelligent analysis of the Courtney Teague mentalities that underlie her being paid out by, let's just say, the intelligentsia, like the Illuminati. There is a thing. It's a thing. We know it is called the intelligentsia. And I talk about these sorority girls that code switch to keep you from getting in bed with them and from marrying into their families and being a part of their social class. When you drive across Coronado and you try to get in with these people, well, we're gonna stand up and we're gonna defend this. This is literally the new segregation. You're seeing the justice system be used. Their code switching isn't enough anymore because we're successfully breaking into their bedrooms. Well, I'm sorry, once you start abusing the justice system to do that, you've gone way too far, and we have to say, you're going to stop doing that, now you should have sex with me. Yeah. Once you do that, that's it. Now you spread your legs. By the way, give me all your property too. Deed it to me now, because you that's it. You prove it. That because you're code switching and your different kind of language, and because all of your wasn't enough anymore to stop guys like us from saying, I'm the great grandson of Sam Walton, I'm Eric Trump, I'm going to date you as that. Now you have to use these incredibly subversive means. Because I didn't do it. Once you read that TPO, didn't do any of it, none of it, all bullshit, complete bullshit. Everything she puts there, and in the end, you look at this stuff. So because she's got ammo, and she's gonna dig up all these emails from a decade. Because I knew her back in college. I don't know. She types up a transcript of all of these. By the way, fake news outlet in Pahrump, Nevada. What an idiot. What an idiot, Courtney Teague. Types up the transcripts. But okay, so if she can prove I had some 10 years ago, all this stuff, fine, whatever. It doesn't matter. She could have pressed the unsubscribe button. Oh, she adds in there. I couldn't get him to stop. This was coming in from a Lion Desk email. You could have pressed unsubscribe. And you're MailChimp, Courtney Teague. You're the newsletter girl. You don't know how to use. You don't even know how to do your job right. MailChimp. You don't know how to unsubscribe from a mailing list. Come on. You're the girl with the ammo. Who's paying you? Who's paying Kelly LaPorte? Whistle blocking. Violating the First Amendment rights of, by the way, there's no journalist rights, like realtor rights, there's realtor rights. To put something in escrow, in every single state, you're going to have professional license. They regulate this, that we got to take a test, get license. Put deal in escrow, get paid. There's no journalist rights. The things journalists do, the digging they do, the muckraking they do, the questions they ask public information officers, the questions they ask public officials, the work they do asking people questions on the street, that's something any person can do. In fact, before we became so cloistered by, anti-gold digger mentalities that emerged over the past, I think they've gone down a bit in the past couple of years, but definitely, this is the anti-rape movement, Antifa was all anti-gold digger. So we were just getting more secretive. Someone knows where I live. Someone knows, what properties I own. Someone knows they're just trying to steal from me. Call up the county and say, I don't want my name on Public property records. Well, I hate to say there's nothing we can do about it. Some places, really, in San Diego, they made it a little harder. If you really know where to go for it, speaking of Esri, they've got all that data available, and you can pull it ArcGIS, and you can do a JSON query on a specific parcel. You have to go somewhere else to find out. Do a name search and find the parcel. You can grab it all yourself, but you know how to pull it from JSON, or you just have your own living atlas kind of public ESRI account, link it in with an API, and you can pull it all up right there. It's an easier way to do it, but I would just take the API and I would a JSON, and I would get a readout based on a particular key for what I do. But that needs to be public. You know why? So that the assessor and the treasurer in the county isn't screwing you. That's why we used to want it to be public. That's why property ownership records are public, and they should be, because you got to look at the assessor's office website. You have every right to go in and say, am I being treated fairly? So that if you look at it, wait a minute, there's a problem here. You go and you appeal. You have a duty then, if you were accidentally overcharged, or for some reason you disagree with, you're not getting this particular exemption on your homeowner exemption that you might be entitled to in your state, or the rate. You have to look at all your neighbors. You look at all your neighbors that own houses there, and you say, wait, something's wrong here. And so you're going to call the assessor, make an appointment to appeal your tax rate, so that you don't owe an extra couple $100 or $1,000. This was just came up in Clark County. Privacy, anti-gold digger. You abuse the justice system, you spread your legs immediately. That's the new policy. And you give me all the money in your bank accounts. These people. So that's the thing with them. Why would you want to be a subordinate to an authority figure if you're out in public? I understand to survive, right? You have to go into an office, boss touches you on the shoulder, you're the subordinate, so you got to sit there on the computer, do the work. I love serving those roles, by the way. Like I was telling you folks not long ago, from something about office, I like all of it. I like being the boss, I like being the assistant. I like getting to experience all of it, and that's the thing with having more jobs than one, moonlighting and having multiple roles in society. I can go to Honolulu, where someone like Lori Onaga, she's the principal broker of a real estate office, and she's doing all this paperwork for people, and she's decided to that's just hypothetically, she's decided to upgrade it. Gloria Onaga, what a figure. And just to met her down there in Honolulu, if you go back to one of my older videos, she has to touch me on the shoulder that way, because I'm the subordinate, and I got to sit at the computer and be the right front desk boy when the people bring the mail in, do all this research for her, grab the call up and get the preliminary title for the ones that she's going to need on for the listing she's going to take. I like doing that. Likewise, I like being the principal broker too. You can do that in another state, let's say, right? Where I get to touch someone else on the shoulder, like that picture of Donald Trump when he was, the fact that he wore, it was what, a few times you saw him in a suit, it was probably like a gray suit he wore also the vest with. He was so young back then. He donated all his money to a school where they were teaching business computing in New York, and he's touching the back of, one of the kids learning business there. I get to be that guy somewhere else. And at the same time, go back and forth across state lines, let's say, in some cases. If it's not real estate where it's regulated differently state to state, you can go into another industry where you don't have to drive as far or fly as far to do both these different things. But if you're going to go out in public, you want to be the authority figure. You want to be the salesman. Why would you want to show you're a subordinate to an authority figure, or someone that's been in a law firm 10 years, 20 years, successfully civilly litigated? You want to be the guy. So that's the power of real estate. Is we don't do that in public, we do that in the office. When I'm out in public, when I'm going to have coffee, when I'm going put the suit on, and I'm the guy, I'm the one-man band. So real estate gives people a way to wear the suit and be the CEO. That's one. You talk about Gary Keller, a lot of problems with him. People don't like, I'm just going to come right out with it, the royalties you have to pay and what they take off of your commission. That's what people do, but it works out good for some people, and specific folks at offices across the country, depending on how they do it, state to state, especially if there's an associate model, they can weasel things in where it's a little less impactful, that they take a lot. But if you cap, as they say, you sell enough, they don't charge it to you at that point for the rest of the year, and so that ends up being one or two elite teams usually. at a Keller Williams brokerage in any particular state or metro area. But that's the problem people have with Keller Williams. I love stuff they put out. Millionaire Real Estate Agent. You talk about him misusing a lot of terms out of cognitive psychology. I don't care. We have our own real estate psychology. We don't run human psychology anyway. That's for losers that want to be kept under a system where they say, oh, it's socially acceptable to just grovel to the authority figure. Sam Walton, his family owns Walmart. Just take the paycheck, take the payout, to not beat his granddaughters and not do all this other stuff on the side, to be the one. You see, you're fucking up society. They're going to give you a diagnosis. They're going to give you for being a billionaire and for not wanting to be seen in public. Basically weaseling your way in, buttering your way in. It's the way that man, the attorney that was there for 10, 20 years, the authority figure, has a suit on, and you're just being so respectful. So you see every little thing in the way he does it. Poor thing. Out in public, coffee in the morning, having to butter him up to try to get a raise or to try to get a promotion in the company and start. I can go to court and do the civil litigation around the corner for people. To put me on some of these regular claims cases where whether it's a real estate brokerage or whatever it is. They need $30,000 out of someone. They want to get a judgment. Let me try that next week. Oh, why would you want to do that in public? I'm the authority figure. I wear the suit. I'm the one with the knowledge. I'm the one-man band. I speak with utter fluency about the market. I'm the Donald Trump. So the next thing I saw, and we're going to get into the final video here, the final part of this is going to bring it all together.